The Haunting of Willowbrook House, Part 1. I moved into Willowbrook House seeking solace, unaware of the horrors that awaited me within its ancient walls. From the moment I crossed the threshold, an unsettling feeling settled in the pit of my stomach. The air was thick with a palpable sense of dread, and shadows seemed to writhe and whisper in the corners of my vision. On my first night, I heard faint whispers echoing through the empty halls. Dismissing them as mere tricks of the wind, I tried to sleep. But the whispers grew louder, more insistent, until they morphed into desperate cries for help. Heart pounding, I followed the anguished voices to the attic, where an old, dusty mirror stood, its surface marred with cryptic symbols. I couldn't tear my eyes away from the mirror, captivated by the flickering candlelight that cast eerie shadows on my face. Suddenly, a ghastly figure materialized behind me, a woman, her eyes hollow and sorrowful. She reached out, her fingers icy cold, and whispered, "Beware the curse that binds this house." Haunted by her words, I began researching the history of Willowbrook House. Legend had it that the house was built on the grounds of an ancient cemetery, disturbed by the construction. The restless spirits, angered by the desecration of their final resting place, had cursed the house, vowing to torment anyone who dared to reside there. As I delved deeper into the house's dark past, I uncovered a series of chilling events, a family driven to madness, a string of unexplained deaths, and mysterious disappearances. Each tale was more horrifying than the last, and I realized I was trapped in a nightmare beyond my comprehension. The nights grew worse. I would wake to find the room freezing cold, my breath visible in the air. Unseen hands would brush against my skin, leaving behind a trail of ice. And then came the whispers, growing louder and more menacing, as if the spirits were trying to communicate something vital. Desperate for answers, I sought the help of a renowned paranormal investigator, Professor Eleanor Blackwood. Together, we conducted seances, hoping to bridge the gap between the living and the dead. In one chilling session, the spirits revealed their tragic tale, a tale of betrayal, greed, and unspeakable cruelty. The original owner of Willowbrook House, a wealthy merchant named Elijah Thorne, had made a pact with dark forces to amass his fortune. In exchange, he sacrificed innocent souls, burying them beneath the house's foundation. The spirits, bound by the curse, longed for justice and vengeance against the malevolent Thorne bloodline. The Haunting of Willowbrook House, Part 2. Professor Blackwood and I were determined to help the tormented spirits find peace. Armed with the knowledge of the house's dark history, we embarked on a perilous journey to break the curse that bound Willowbrook House. The spirits guided us, revealing hidden chambers and long-forgotten artifacts that held the key to their salvation. In the depths of the house, we discovered an ancient grimoire, its pages filled with incantations and rituals. With trembling hands, we recited the incantations, hoping to appease the vengeful spirits. As the last words left our lips, the house shook violently, and a blinding light engulfed us. When the light subsided, we found ourselves in a different time, a time when Willowbrook House stood tall and proud, untouched by the passage of centuries. The air crackled with dark energy, and we realized we had been transported to the very moment the curse was forged. Elijah Thorne, the sinister patriarch, stood before us, his eyes gleaming with malevolence. He recognized us as intruders and unleashed his dark minions, grotesque shadow creatures that swirled around us, threatening to engulf our souls. With unwavering determination, Professor Blackwood and I fought back, wielding ancient artifacts that emitted a radiant light, banishing the shadows. As we battled the malevolent forces, the spirits of Thorn's victims materialized around us, their ethereal forms lending us their strength. Together, we confronted Thorn, forcing him to confront the atrocities he had committed. The spirit's anguished wails echoed through the air, piercing Thorn's very soul. In a moment of profound reckoning, Thorn's facade of arrogance crumbled, and he begged for forgiveness. The spirits, their wrath appeased by his genuine remorse, granted him a chance at redemption. With a blinding flash, Thorn was consumed by a vortex of light, disappearing into the void. The curse was lifted, and Willowbrook House trembled as if awakening from a long nightmare. The spirits faded away, their ethereal forms dissolving into the light. As the last specter vanished, the house regained its former glory, freed from the shackles of darkness. Professor Blackwood and I found ourselves back in the present, standing in the restored Willowbrook House. The air felt lighter, and the once haunting atmosphere had transformed into one of peace. The curse was broken, and the tormented spirits had found their long-awaited rest. But our ordeal was far from over. As we explored the now tranquil house, we stumbled upon a hidden chamber containing a sinister artifact, an ornate box adorned with arcane symbols. Its malevolent aura sent shivers down our spines, and we knew that our journey was far from finished. The Curse Unleashed, Part 3. Intrigued and cautious, Professor Blackwood and I studied the mysterious artifact we had found in Willowbrook House's hidden chamber. It radiated a dark energy that seemed to pulse with a life of its own. The box was adorned with intricate carvings depicting scenes of ancient rituals and malevolent spirits. It was evident that this object held immense power, but its true purpose remained a chilling mystery. Driven by curiosity and a sense of responsibility, we embarked on a quest to uncover the secrets of the cursed artifact. Our research led us to ancient texts and forbidden knowledge, revealing that the box was a prison for a malevolent entity, an entity hungry for power and revenge. Centuries ago, a group of powerful sorcerers had bound the entity within the box to prevent it from wreaking havoc upon the world. As we delved deeper into the artifact's origins, we discovered a prophecy that foretold the release of the imprisoned entity under specific celestial conditions. To our horror, we realized that the alignment of stars and planets mentioned in the prophecy was imminent, a cosmic event that occurred once in a millennium. Fearing the consequences of the entity's release, Professor Blackwood and I sought the guidance of a reclusive occult scholar, Madame Serafina. She revealed that the only way to prevent the entity's escape was to perform a counter-ritual, a complex and perilous undertaking that required powerful artifacts and ancient incantations. Armed with this knowledge, we embarked on a dangerous journey to gather the necessary components for the counter-ritual. We traveled to remote corners of the world, facing supernatural challenges and battling malevolent forces determined to stop us. Each step brought us closer to the fateful cosmic alignment, and the looming sense of dread weighed heavily on our shoulders. As the celestial event approached, we returned to Willowbrook House, where the artifact's dark aura seemed to intensify. With time running out, we began the intricate process of the counter-ritual. The air crackled with energy as we chanted the ancient incantations, the room filling with an otherworldly glow. In the midst of the ritual, the artifact shook violently, resisting our attempts to contain the malevolent entity within. Shadows writhed and twisted, clawing at the edges of the box, desperate to break free. Beads of sweat formed on our brows as we poured all our magical energy into the ritual, fighting against the relentless force within the artifact. Just as it seemed that the entity would overpower us, we unleashed a surge of collective willpower, channeling the strength of generations of sorcerers who had bound the entity before. The artifact trembled, and with a deafening roar, the malevolent entity was forced back into its prison, the lid slamming shut with a resounding finality. Exhausted and shaken, we collapsed to the floor, the weight of our ordeal lifting from our shoulders. The curse had been averted, and the world was safe from the unleashed entity's wrath, for now. But we knew that we could never underestimate the forces of darkness that lurked in the shadows. The Entity's Revenge, Part 4. With the malevolent entity contained once more, Professor Blackwood and I breathed a sigh of relief, thinking our ordeal was finally over. Little did we know, our actions had consequences far more terrifying than we could have imagined. Days after the successful counter-ritual, strange occurrences plagued our lives. Shadows danced ominously on the walls, even in the brightest of daylight. Unearthly whispers echoed through the corridors of Willowbrook House, chilling us to the bone. Objects moved of their own accord, and the air grew heavy with an unshakable sense of dread. One night, as I lay in bed, paralyzed by fear, the room plunged into darkness. I could sense a malevolent presence creeping closer, its icy fingers grazing my skin. A voice, neither human nor entirely alien, whispered in my ear, promising unimaginable suffering for our audacity in confining it once more. Professor Blackwood, too, was tormented. He reported vivid nightmares where he was ensnared in a web of shadows, unable to escape the entity's wrath. The line between reality and nightmare blurred, leaving us in a perpetual state of terror. Desperate for answers, we revisited our research, scouring ancient texts and consulting experts from various occult disciplines. What we discovered shook us to the core. The malevolent entity was not just seeking revenge, it was hell-bent on merging its essence with the physical world. Its goal was to unleash a new era of darkness, where it would reign supreme. We knew we had to act swiftly to prevent the entity from succeeding in its nefarious plans. Armed with newfound knowledge, we constructed a protective barrier around Willowbrook House, layering it with ancient runes and powerful wards. Each symbol etched into the walls resonated with an ancient magic, repelling the entity's advances, for a time. As the cosmic event that had once aligned with the entity's release approached again, the barrier weakened. The very air crackled with malevolence, and the entity's whispers grew louder, filling our minds with horrifying visions of a world consumed by shadows. Driven by fear and determination, we sought out the aid of a secretive society of supernatural guardians known as the Arcane Sentinels. With their expertise, we devised a plan to confront the entity head-on, in a realm between worlds where its power was at its peak. On the fateful night of the cosmic alignment, we performed a ritual to open a portal to the entity's domain. Stepping through the rift, we found ourselves in a nightmarish landscape, where twisted trees loomed like grotesque specters and the very ground seemed to writhe with malevolence. As we ventured deeper into this terrifying realm, the entity revealed its true form, a monstrous entity of pure darkness, its eyes glowing with an insatiable hunger for power. With a bone-chilling roar, it attacked, unleashing a torrent of shadows that threatened to engulf us. The final confrontation, Part 5. The battle in the otherworldly realm raged on, with the malevolent entity unleashing its full fury upon us. Its shadowy tendrils lashed out, seeking to ensnare us and drain our very souls. We fought back with all our might, wielding ancient artifacts and incantations provided by the arcane sentinels. The ground beneath us trembled as the entity's roars echoed through the nightmarish landscape. Desperation fueled our determination, and we pushed ourselves beyond the limits of human endurance. Professor Blackwood, his eyes blazing with a fierce resolve, chanted incantations that countered the entity's dark magic, while I wielded a relic infused with the essence of ancient guardians. In a moment of sheer terror, the entity revealed its ultimate weapon, a legion of vengeful spirits, each one a victim of its insatiable hunger for power. The spirits, their eyes filled with anguish and rage, attacked us with a ferocity that sent shivers down our spines. We fought back, trying to banish the spirits to the afterlife, but they kept coming, their numbers overwhelming. Just when it seemed all hope was lost, a blinding light pierced the darkness, revealing the presence of the long-lost souls of Willowbrook House. The spirits, freed from the entity's grasp, joined our fight. Their ethereal forms intertwined with ours, creating a barrier of pure light that pushed back the malevolent forces. In a moment of shocking revelation, the entity's true weakness became apparent. It was vulnerable to the very light it sought to extinguish. Encouraged by this discovery, we channeled the collective power of the spirits in ourselves, unleashing a radiant blast that engulfed the entity in a blinding explosion of light. For a moment, there was silence, broken only by the echoes of our labored breaths. We dared to hope that we had prevailed, that the nightmare was finally over. But our triumph was short-lived. In a horrifying twist, the entity's essence reformed, merging with the shadows that surrounded us. It took on a monstrous, towering form, its eyes glowing with an unholy fervor. It spoke, its voice echoing with a bone-chilling resonance. You may have won this battle, but I am eternal. I shall find a way back, and when I do, your world will know true despair. With a deafening roar, the entity launched a final assault, unleashing a wave of darkness that engulfed us. The world around us twisted and contorted, reality itself warping under the entity's influence. We screamed, our voices drowned out by the cacophony of despair. And then, everything went black. When I regained consciousness, I found myself back in Willowbrook House. The air was heavy with an unsettling stillness. Professor Blackwood was nowhere to be seen. Desperation clawed at my throat as I searched every corner of the house, but he was gone, as if he had never existed. In the eerie silence, I heard a faint whisper, the voice of Professor Blackwood echoing through the walls. "Beware," he said, his voice laced with a mixture of fear and determination. "The entity is still out there, waiting for its moment to strike again. You must be vigilant. You must be prepared." And with those haunting words, the story came to a chilling end, leaving me alone in the darkness, forever haunted by the horrors I had witnessed. The end.